I think that's what we really want to kind of dig into today. So maybe a good place to start is just like what is Swaraj? Like how do we even define this thing?
Well, I mean, if you break down the word itself, right, you've got swa, which means self,
Okay.
and then you have raj, which is like rule or governance.
Okay.
So literally it does mean self-rule.
Right.
But it's more than just like political independence.
Right. It's not just kicking out the British and then, everyone's free.
Exactly. It's this much deeper idea about personal transformation, about societal transformation.
So it's kind of like it starts with the individual, but then like ripples outwards.
Absolutely. Gandhi believed that real freedom, real Swaraj had to begin internally.
So it's almost like you have to master yourself before you can master your own destiny in a way.
Yeah, and before you can contribute to a free and just society.
Right. And that's so interesting because like so often we think about freedom as like external forces, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like what's being imposed on us, but this is almost like it's more about what's going on inside.
Exactly. It's about liberating yourself from those inner constraints as well.
So how did Gandhi, like how did this manifest? Like how did he put this into practice? Because it sounds, very philosophical, but I'm sure he had some very concrete ideas about, what this would look like.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the best examples of this is his emphasis on Khadi.
Khadi.
So Khadi is homespun cloth.
Okay.
And he really encouraged Indians to spin their own cloth, to boycott British textiles.
And this was like a huge part of the movement, right?
Absolutely. It was a powerful symbol of self-reliance.
Right, like we can clothe ourselves, we don't need you.
Exactly. And it was a way to resist British economic domination.
So it's almost like a boycott, but it's also like empowering yourself at the same time.
Yeah, it's taking back that power. And it went beyond just the economics of it too. Like Gandhi believed that the act of spinning, even for a few minutes each day, it cultivated this sense of patience, this discipline.
Oh, interesting.
It brought people together. They would have these spinning circles.
Oh, wow.
And it was a way for them to really connect with their own inner strength.
It's almost meditative, I guess, in a way.
Yeah, absolutely. It's very mindful.
Yeah, that's so interesting.
So it wasn't just about the cloth, right? It was about transforming the individual. It was about building this nation from the ground up.
Yeah, and I think that's such an important point because, we often think about these movements in terms of like the big picture,
yeah.
Right? But really it comes down to individuals and how they change themselves and how that then impacts the whole.
It's that ripple effect.
Yeah, exactly.
And this emphasis on self-sufficiency extended to other areas as well. Gandhi also championed the concept of Swadeshi, which essentially means of one's own country. And it was this idea of promoting the use of locally made goods, supporting local businesses, and reducing dependence on imports.
Okay, so it's kind of like buying local, but with a much like deeper philosophical meaning behind it.
Yeah, it's that conscious decision to support your own community, to build up your own economy. And during the independence movement, a lot of Indians they chose to buy, products made by local artisans, even if it meant paying a little bit more.
Right, because they're investing in their own future.
Exactly, they're investing in their own freedom.
Yeah.
And that really weakened the hold that British industries had on India.
It's almost like it's like a form of peaceful protest, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's that economic resistance.
Yeah, that's really fascinating. And so, we've talked about Khadi, we've talked about Swadeshi, but there's also this whole like moral dimension to Swaraj, right?
Absolutely. I mean, for Gandhi, Swaraj wasn't just about economic and political freedom. It was about moral freedom as well.
So what did he mean by that? Like what does moral freedom look like?
He believed that true self-rule required this inner transformation. It's not enough to just change the systems around you. You have to change yourself.
So it's kind of like it's about becoming a better person in a way.
Yeah, and recognizing that freedom without inner moral strength, it doesn't mean much.
Right.
So for Gandhi, things like truthfulness, nonviolence, self-discipline, these were all essential components of Swaraj.
Okay. So it's not just about what you do. It's about who you are.
Exactly. It's about aligning your actions with your values.
And that's something that's so relevant today, right? Like we see so much hypocrisy, so much, people saying one thing and doing another.
Mm-hmm.
And And I think, what Gandhi is saying is that real change starts with being true to yourself and living those values.
And being the change you want to see in the world.
Yeah, exactly.
It's easy to get caught up in the external battles, the political fights, but ultimately Swaraj reminds us that the real revolution begins within.
So to kind of bring it all together, Swaraj it's this idea of self-governance, but it's not just political, it's personal, it's economic, it's moral.
It's holistic.
Yeah, it's this ongoing process of self-transformation and societal transformation.
It's a journey, not a destination.
Yeah.
And it makes you think, like, how can we practice Swaraj in our own lives today? Is it buying from local businesses more often? Is it spending less time on social media and more time cultivating inner peace?
Right. Are we boycotting things that don't align with our values? Are we really practicing what we preach?
Exactly. And what impact could those small changes have on our communities, on the world around us?
That's something to think about. Well, thank you so much for taking us on this deep dive into Swaraj.
My pleasure.
It's definitely given us a lot to chew on. And for all of you listening out there, we'd love to hear your thoughts. How are you practicing Swaraj in your own life?